But we did see something at least cool that we could talk about. They revealed, it was like a 5 or 6 minute video. It's a pretty long video. Miyamoto with some other guy, I don't know his name, is helping develop the new Zelda Wii U game and showing some of the open world footage, which did look cool.
What I liked about it, couple of key points that I liked about it. The world is not very, it didn't look very flat. Yeah, even in games like Skyrim, sometimes I have trouble, finding the mountains to climb and things like that. They're there, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But there seemed to be a focus on tall places to climb, so you could get these gorgeous vistas of Hyrule, as you're playing around. What also interested me, truly from a gameplay perspective, that actually made me go, wow, that's really awesome, was, it sounds so stupid, but it's how the horse mechanics work with Epona. I don't know if you paid attention to that part or if you saw it, but basically, you don't have to steer a ton when you're riding on the horse. You kind of set a point and you maneuver the horse in certain directions, but you don't have to constantly be steering. And
the horse just goes.
And as the guy said, he's like, well, because real horses don't often crash into trees. So if you're aiming Epona through a forest, you can then control Link and use your bow and arrow to shoot things, and the horse is going to weave in and out of trees naturally. And that to me is great, because that's not hand-holding in a video game. That's actual realism in a game that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not hand-holding. It's also not something that's going to be boring you to tears trying to avoid every little tree that comes up.
Right.
Otherwise, it'd be a chore to want to explore the world and go place to place. I will say this, though. Until they really describe what's going to be involved in this open world, I'm not really going to buy it as something that's going to sell me on the game until you know that there's going to be like random events and quests that you can go on. Whether you can explore and find stuff. If it's just literally just going to be a bigger version of the 3D like N64 games where you have to travel constantly back and forth, I don't care. You have to give me some sort of unique sort of experience that I have not seen in a previous 3D Zelda game, or otherwise, yeah, it's just fancier, really fancy window dressing, but window dressing nonetheless. So yeah, I want to be able to really feel like I can go at my own pace and not just, okay, we're going to give you this huge open world, but now you go from point A to B, back to point A, back to C, to D. And then it's like, well, okay. Now, you're going to have to do that anyway to some extent.
Yes,
but
because
some randomness would be nice. And some, you know what I mean? To even side quests that are somewhat randomized or something. I'm thinking more like an open world game, I guess like a Red Dead Redemption, or,
I think they're going to do this. And the reason I think so is one, in the video, and it's hard to tell, but you're going from phrasing through a translator, but they're looking at little artifacts and they're setting waypoints, and they're like, oh, now here's something over here that looks odd. Maybe we can go check that out and see what's going on around there. Or, oh, is this the entrance to like an old dungeon or something like that? They make it sound like these are things that you would explore like you would in an Elder Scrolls game and naturally find something around it. My other reason is I think they're going to go at least slightly towards something like that is Dragon Quest IX did incredibly well. Now, I know Square Enix made Dragon Quest IX, but Nintendo published it. And one of the interesting things about Dragon Quest IX was that it was a traditional Japanese RPG with a set storyline, but there were random caves and things that you could find.
Okay.
You could find treasure maps, and these things kind of appeared randomly to give you questing you could go off and do on your own. You could wander and find something random, and it was such a huge success for them that I think they might have taken something from it. So I do think we're going to see some... I mean, even in Skyrim, it's not, or like I said, Oblivion, one of those two, it's not a random thing, it's built in. But yes, I do think we're going to see places that we can explore in the new Zelda that aren't going to have anything to do with the main storyline. Other than to give you treasure, loot, I don't know if there's going to be an experience system, but they're going to give you some sort of respite from your basic quest.
I would hope, because that would get me interested in it.
Yeah, it would get me interested in it too, because I'm otherwise not, as I've said before, I don't hate Zelda games, but they've just never been my thing. This would make me way more interested in a Zelda game.